to Bets on Bets on Bets, week one of the NFL season. I'm your host, Kenneth Cotterill of the Competitive Hedge Podcast, and I'm joined by Walker Bailey, 818, back for season three. Walker, how are we doing today? It's like Christmas morning today.
Let's go, man. It's week one. All the bets really start counting. All those garbage preseason wagers we made, throw them in the trash. Like, time to really get rolling and get after the NFL this year. I'm really excited.
So were you like me where you have an unhealthy amount of future bets moving forward? Because over the last week, I feel like I've been placing 5 a day. And at this point, I'm just going to look at the end of the year. I have too many to track where I'm just going to hope that I come out on top.
Man, like I had to text the bookie, maybe get that credit space expanded just a little bit because all my day-to-day wagers were not super possible with all the futures that were logged for this NFL season. I'm just fired up. I'm super excited. This is gonna be a good year.
Well, before we get into it today, we got to give a shout out to Betalytics, powerful sports betting software and research assistant tool. They've got player prop projections, betting line evaluations, best bet recommendations as well. Head on over and use promo code OTBN for 25% off your purchase there. I used them this morning, thought that they have some great software that I can use to get a little bit of an edge on the competition, and so I'm excited for today. Now, let's start with our teams. How you feeling today? Titans going into New Orleans, they're plus 2.5. And then I'm a Cowboys fan, obviously, from the Jersey, and they're playing the Giants on the road tonight. So let's start with your Titans. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like I think this is a typical Vrabel short dog game where they kind of just maybe beat the piss out of the team that they're playing against, and Vrabel shows up and motivates the boys, and they kind of roll in there and physically dominate a football game. But Vrabel's teams historically in week one don't play well, so I don't know. One of those trends is going out the window today. We'll just have to see which one it is. I'm a kind of it'll be really weird to watch DeAndre Hopkins in a Titans jersey. What a waste.
Yeah, I do have the D-Hop jersey behind me in the Cardinals black, one of my favorite jerseys that I have, and it was unfortunate to see him go, but I understand why. Now we got Arizona as one of the worst teams in the league. I do kind of like the Titans today. I'm not betting them, but I do think that they're going to figure out a way to win, but I'm also lower on the Saints than probably a lot of other people are. As far as my team goes, they're minus 3.5 on the road. I actually like the Giants to cover. I don't think that I'll actually bet it personally, because I hate betting against my own team. I did do it yesterday, full disclosure, in college football. So I wish I was so upset about Miami knocking off A&M, but I was able to load up my bank account for this NFL Sunday. So what do you think of the Sunday nighter of Dallas and Giants? Dak has yet to lose to the Giants. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Dallas. I kind of just instinctually like Dallas. I was thinking about laying the points for the picks in the show. Just kind of narrowly got cut. I think the Cowboys should win and cover tonight. And if they don't cover, I expect it to be more of a backdoor. I think Dallas wins the game, gets off to a good start, and what I think could be an NFC East title winning season.
All right, so let's start out with your upset of the day. It also happens to roll into your first pick of the day as well. So you've got Cleveland Browns +2 at minus 110, but you've also got straight up they're going to upset the Bengals today. So what is it for you week one? Obviously a divisional matchup, Cleveland playing at home today. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean they've really got good historical data against Cincinnati. I think Burrow's 1-3 against Cleveland in his tenure as the Bengals quarterback. He's coming off the calf strain, and I know he's healthy, but he missed a lot of practice, so a lot of chemistry stuff probably isn't right. It's just going to take him a minute probably to get back up to game speed. I think that it's a slower offensive day, and the Browns kind of ride the ground game, play a solid defense, get a good pass rush against Burrow, maybe force a turnover or two, and get out with a week one win.
Are you a little bit confused why Burrow's going week one? I know that they obviously said a day prior that he's good to go, so he should be at 100%. But I kind of wondered if they would maybe not take the risk and maybe give him a little bit more time to get ready. But what are your thoughts with him starting today?
I think in the preseason, I thought he wasn't going to be ready. And then I think that if he's going today, that you're really, really confident that from a health perspective, that he's 100%. Or you have to be which granted, I'm not putting it past the Bengals. Like, this hasn't historically been the most well-run franchise. But, like, if he's going today at less than 100%, then that's kind of an issue. He's a guy that you can't afford to lose, and calf strains typically correlate to other injuries down the road, like Achilles tears and stuff like that. So if he's going today, I think they're pretty confident that he's 100% ready to roll. So I think it's just going to take him a minute to get back into football playing shape, football chemistry, stuff like that. With his receivers, I think it's a low scoring game. I think the Browns win, and then I think we'll get some value on Cincinnati kind of moving forward to bounce back and start rolling.
So one thing as well, while we're on this division, we saw last night that the Ravens aren't going to be rolling with Mark Andrews today, but the line didn't move at all with him getting ruled out. Do you think that this is just Vegas protecting themselves because they know that Baltimore's clearly the better team and they have an opportunity to roll them even without Andrews in the lineup? Because we saw with Kelsey, he gets ruled out. They went from -6.5 down to -4.5, and then they ended up losing outright. So I'm not too worried about that Texans money line or anything today, but do you think that that's why that line hasn't moved?
I just think, yeah, I think so. Like, I think that Vegas would prefer not to get beat by Baltimore money. Like, they'd prefer to not leave that line too short. But I mean, I actually, again, like another one that got cut but didn't make it. I actually really like Houston today. I think if they just kind of maybe keep it to 3 to 7 points. Like, I think I really don't think they ever threatened to win the game, but I don't think that they're really that far outside the number at any point either. I think that it's a really important game for Houston. New head coach, new quarterback, a lot of rookies on the defense as well. Like, it's going to be the first game for a lot of these guys, and so with that comes mistakes, but it also brings extreme motivation. Whereas Baltimore, veteran bunch, been around, they know that championships aren't won in week one, and they're you know down a couple guys, down a couple key players. Maybe just kind of put it into cruise control a little early if they get up 14. I think the back door could be wide open here, and then I think there's a chance that you don't need it.
I think also the reason why they didn't move it is they're hoping that Houston maybe gets some money piled on them, because if it dropped, then you'd probably get more Baltimore bets, and then they're worried that they may end up losing out on some money in this game. So I'm intrigued by that one. I think that it's going to be one to watch. I do think that the ground game is going to be huge for Baltimore today. Obviously, no Andrews, and he's got a lot of new weapons as well.
I think it's one that you keep an eye on the box score on ESPN, and then maybe come late third quarter, it may be the one that gets TV1. Like, I think it may be like, oh, this game is close. Like, let's go see what's happening over here.
And this is one where I'm sure that there's a lot of people, if you're in a survivor pool, that went with Baltimore week one. And if it's
Yeah.
as close that as Walker's thinking, that a lot of people are going to be sweating, potentially getting knocked out the first week. Now, my upset today is a little bit more of a bold one. I do like Tampa Bay today against Minnesota. I don't like Tampa Bay long term. I don't think that they're a team that's going to go on and make the playoffs in the NFC by any stretch. But Minnesota, with the bottom three defense last year, somehow got worse. I do think that they're gonna struggle a little bit on offense today. I do like Madison still to get in the end zone, but I've obviously got a future bet on that, so I'll probably like that throughout the season. But I do think that Tampa Bay, Baker's going to play well enough against this defense, and if he can't take advantage of a defense like this, then Tampa Bay is really going to be in trouble moving forward. But I like Chris Godwin to have a big day. We saw the news that Mike Evans did not come to an extension ahead of the deadline there, so he's going to play with a little bit of added motivation today as well. I think that he's going to want to show that he's worth some money moving forward. But I like Tampa Bay money line. I did play the spread as well. I got it earlier in the week at +6. I think it's moved down to 4.5 now. But what do you think of this matchup?
Yeah, I love it. I saw this morning too that Antonio Brown has like 120 grand on Vikings money line. So it's going to be Kenneth Cotterill versus Antonio Brown in this game. That's the matchup that everybody's looking forward to. But yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this on See Sunday. I think the Bucks are going to be more competent than people probably realize. Like, Baker's not great, but he's kind of just steady Eddie. Like, he's kind of fine. He's not going to win you any games. He'll probably lose you some games, but he's not just awful. And that receiving core is going to help elevate him a lot. They should be able to run the ball a decent bit. The defense is still going to be pretty good. So I think Bowles is terrible, but I think that they'll still be at least kind of semi-competent in these longer underdog spots.
All right, so let's move over now. We've covered your first pick. My first one is also Broncos -3, which you also happen to have on your card. So we're doubling down. This is probably we'll call it the bets on bets favorite of the day. Broncos -3 versus the Raiders. It was at 3.5 all week, and then it moved down to 3. I just think Denver's going to look like a significantly better football team this year. I think Sean Payton's going to have them ready to go. Javonte Williams being back in the lineup, I think he's going to have a pretty good day on the ground as well. I just really like this home spot for them, opening up their division. These are the two worst teams in the division if you're looking at it from an over-under wins perspective heading into the year. But I just really like Denver. What are your thoughts on this play?
Yep, hop on and ride the wave with me from the ride the wave to the Denver Broncos AFC West title. As we kind of get rolling here, week 1, I think this is a statement game. I think you can. I think -3. You can roll it up and play smaller spreads -7.5. Like I think Denver all over Vegas today. Statement game. Denver's back. Like I think they're going to be a really. I think not really. Let's slow our roll. Really good football team is probably a little strong, but they're going to be. I think they're going to be a playoff caliber football team. Vegas probably not. I like Denver all over at Mile High, all over Vegas at Mile High today.
Okay. I'm going to head over now. I also like Chargers today and Miami to go over. Now, this is one that I think people have been fairly split on. They do see the two rosters and think that it should go over, but they're probably a little bit weary because when they played in December last year, and that was with healthy Herbert and Tua, it was only 23-17. So it wasn't quite the score fest that we thought that it was going to be. I just think that Kellen Moore is going to elevate this offense for the Chargers. I do have Herbert MVP. I have their over win total. I just think that this is a game where they potentially put up 30 plus. I think Miami has the potential to do that as well. I think it's got that shootout potential, kind of like when we saw Baltimore and Miami early in the year last year. I think we could see that today in this matchup. And so I found 50.5 at -110. I know some books have 51, some have 51.5. So be sure to shop around. But I like the Chargers over today. What are your thoughts on this matchup between LA and Miami? Two teams that are probably on the brink of making the playoffs this year, given how tough the AFC is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're on the right side here. I also like the Chargers today with Teron Armstead out for the Dolphins. I think both these teams are really good football teams, man. I think this is no offense to your wife, but this is the game to watch at 325. I think you get away from everybody will be watching Packers Bears, but I think this is the one that this is the one you want to have eyes on. This is going to be really, really high level football. This has like 31-27 written all over it, finishing at 58, going over the total. I'm super excited to watch.
Yeah, I've done a good job of hiding all of my Packer takes that I've had throughout the offseason. So I haven't had to sleep on the couch yet. But if some of those do happen to pop up on social media and she sees them, that she's not going to be.
Oh, it's going to be, if the Bears win today, you'll have to look at her and just be like, oh, that's a shame. And then when you're in the bathroom, give a good fist pump because the Bears are going to win the division, or the Bears will have a divisional win.
Yeah, she won't know that I've got Bears money line today. So
yeah.
Let's go to your third pick, I guess, that being the Falcons -3.5 versus Carolina today. I've got Falcons winning the division, so I love the pick, but I'm curious your thoughts on this one. They did split these matchups last year. Each home team won. And so what are your thoughts on them at -3.5?
I've got Atlanta all over Carolina here. I think this is another one that may not potentially be that close. Got a rookie quarterback making his first start on the road against the Falcons defense that's better than it was a year ago. Grady Jarrett and company should be able to get after the passer a little bit. The Panthers aren't a really good pass protecting unit. And then you've got an electric young offense in Atlanta. Ritter's a question mark still, but Bijan and Drake London aren't. You've got a really good, solid front or offensive line. I just think they're going to be able to move the ball when they want to. Brian Burns is just now coming out of contract dispute after not practicing all week. So who knows how fresh and ready to go he's going to be. He may be a little rusty. I mean, I just think you get an opportunity to get Carolina at probably what is not going to be the best version of themselves. Atlanta should be ripping and ready to roll. Arthur Smith's a stud. This is going to be probably his most competent offense since he called plays for A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry back in Tennessee as the offensive coordinator. So I think he's probably fired up. Atlanta's fired up. This should be a big one. They should win. They should win pretty handily. If they're as good as I think they are, they're going to win this game handily.
I think, too, when you look historically when it comes to number one overall picks in their first start, they haven't been great. And so I think Bryce Young could struggle early. I think Atlanta could take advantage. And if Atlanta gets ahead and then they can just run the football effectively with Bijan and Algier, then I think that they're going to be in a really good spot today. So I do like the Falcons minus 3.5. And then speaking of a divisional game, my final pick, I like Seattle today minus 4.5 against the Rams. I've talked about it throughout the offseason that I think that this has the potential to go wrong really quickly for the Rams. We've already seen that Cooper Kupp's been put on IR. So when you're throwing to Van Jefferson and Tutu Atwell, I just don't think that it's a really good spot for the Rams today. That being said, no Jamal Adams in the lineup still for Seattle, so they are missing a bit of secondary help. I still just think that they're the superior football team. I think they're clearly the second best team in this division. I would almost bet the Rams to finish worst in the NFL. I know that Arizona is going to be historically bad, but I think that the Rams have that potential as well. So I like Seattle today minus 4.5 at home. I just think that they're going to run away with it, probably win by 10 to 14 points. So I feel really good about this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think another angle with this one too is a Kenneth Walker over player prop. I think that Aaron Donald's out. I could be wrong about that, but
Okay.
could double check. But I think even if he is, even if he is, and I think you're going to be able to run the ball against that Rams front. So I like Kenneth Walker over on the rushing prop. I have the number. If you can give me a second.
Yeah, I haven't seen
This
that Donald's out, but I still think that he's going to be effective on the ground regardless. Like you're
Yeah,
basically banking on
it's
one point every time.
the number's only 65 and a half rushing yards. So I mean, I think you get over that. I think he has like 75 to 100 yards and you kind of sail over here. That's another good angle I like for this. Seattle should win. Hopefully it doesn't get tricky for them. I just thought it was kind of a weird number. I just didn't really want to be on it. It felt like one of those no matter what side of the game I bet I was going to lose. So I just didn't play it at all.
I normally get a little bit concerned when you're at 4.5 and 5 because then I feel like they're protecting themselves against a field goal winner or a touchdown winner. But I do like the Seahawks today. I just think that the Rams aren't a great football team. No Ramsey, he's obviously gone. Donald's in the lineup, but that's not a great roster. And Stafford would have to do a lot today, I think, in Seattle, coming back off an injury. So give me the Seahawks today. But appreciate everyone who tuned into Bets on Bets on Bets today. Be sure to tail some of Walker and my picks. Check out Betalytics as well. OTBN is the promo code for 25% off. A lot of great best bet recommendations there. I found some great player props, even some touchdown plays as well over there. So dive into the data. Don't just go and hammer Austin Eckler anytime touchdown at minus 170 today because that's what he's sitting at. Be sure to do your research and bet responsibly as well. We really appreciate everyone who tunes in. And we'll be here every Sunday that we can, Walker and I. And so we'll see you guys next time for Bets on Bets on Bets.